Good evening. Welcome to Ask 11. I'm your host, Tracy Christensen. This month, Ask 11 is focusing on childhood development. Research has shown that a parent's influence greatly impacts all aspects of a child's progress during the early years. Undetected behavioral and developmental problems in children can have a profound impact not only on the lives of the children and families involved, but on society as a whole. As parents, it's important that we observe our children and watch for signs that they're on target in all areas: social, emotional, cognitive, intellectual, and of course physical. Sometimes, parents, both first-timers as well as veterans, might need assistance to determine if their child is meeting the important milestones of development. Knowing what is normal progress and if your child is attaining their full potential can be difficult, but we hope to make that process a little bit easier with the information we'll share tonight. During this hour, we'll answer questions you may have about proper childhood development, and we'll learn about community resources available to help families. Our phone lines are open, and we invite you to call with your questions, concerns, or experiences. The toll-free number to reach us is 855-801-1980, and that number will be on your screen throughout this program. Joining us this evening to answer your questions are Barbara Levitt and Stephanie Anderson. Both are from the United Way of Utah County and a program called Help Me Grow. Barbara is the director of Help Me Grow, and Stephanie, you are the childhood development specialist. So we're so happy to have you and learn from your wealth of knowledge about this topic. Childhood development covers a really broad area. Can you kind of describe what we're talking about when we refer to childhood development?
We're just talking about a human being becoming holistically growing the way that they should, and every child develops very individualistically. So a parent is the one who knows and can see the changes that are occurring in all those different areas that you mentioned: language and gross motor development and social emotional. But that's really what we're talking about, is seeing a child growing and being able to live within their world and function within their world at what's appropriate at that certain age.
And there are different milestones that children are typically supposed to reach in those areas as they grow.
What we talk about child development is there's three areas of development. There's the universal, and that is all children walk, all children talk. And then there's the contextual, because in different cultures and different societies, we might do that at a different stage or an age. Like in some countries, children learn language by listening to their adults talk, and they don't participate in that. Definitely in our culture, we're always talking to the child. And then there's the individual development, where a child is going to develop on their own stage. All of us try to compare. It's not always the best thing, but all of us will say, oh, my son is talking at the age of 18 months, where another child might not talk until maybe 2. And that's the individual. But there are different milestones that we do want to see in those three areas of the universal, the contextual, and then the individual.
You're so right that we compare. And like I mentioned before, it can cause you to stress out as a parent if you're thinking, oh, well, you know, is my child on track or are they not? And so Help Me Grow is a program that's designed to help give some peace and some guidance to parents. Tell us about what the program is.
Well, Help Me Grow it's really a system enhancer. It kind of takes all of the players that are already in place, the pediatricians, the community providers, the parent, and it ties everybody together so that the information is shared more accurately among the three. And one of the things that Help Me Grow does is it develops a central access point where parents can call in, they can get information, really general development information, but they also can get a screening tool if they would like that was written for parents. They can then also get information on resources in the community that they can use.
This sounds so great. And we want to remind all of our viewers at home that our phone lines are open and the number's on your screen. And you can call in and ask Barbara and Stephanie any questions that you have about childhood development or about this program we're discussing called Help Me Grow. Now, I know that this program has been done elsewhere in the country, and you've been key in bringing it to Utah. Why did you feel so strongly about that?
I felt strongly because here in Utah, we have the lowest age of any population in the country. We have the highest birth rate in this county. This is the area where we have a lot of young children and we have a lot of parents and they need support. And as a parent myself, I always felt like I needed the support, and so I really wanted to give it to others too.
So great.
One thing about Utah that is a great statistic is we have very educated parents too. And we have parents that want to know. And so Help Me Grow is a great place for those people that are first-time parents, second-time, third, or fourth to make the call, and it's 211. They can call into 211 and get general resources. As Barbara was saying before the show started, we're the experts to get the experts to get the experts. So we're going to tie you into community resources, and I think it's wonderful that Utah has parents that want to know this. There's some statistics that are sort of, I think, in a way scary, is that 50% of children are not ready to go to start kindergarten. And Utah does fall in that statistics too. And so this is a great program to help those kids get ready for school, because you don't just start at 3 years old to get your child ready for kindergarten. It starts at birth.
And Tracy, just to kind of go back on why Help Me Grow was developed in Connecticut, there was a pediatrician who had many, many years of experience in development and behavioral issues. And he felt like the resources were there, the parents had a lot of information, but they were not being connected. And so he developed this program to make everyone, every player in that child's life better connected.
So a parent who might know that they need resources or think that they might need to be in touch with some other resources can call 211. And what will they expect to happen after they call?
Okay, so they will dial 211. They'll ask for Help Me Grow. They'll be given to one of our child development specialists, and there's many that sit at our phones, including volunteers. We have students in child development that also sit on that phone, and then we have some staff. And that staff member will listen to the concerns of the parent and then try to pick out of the story of the parent what they really want. And then once they hear the concerns of the parent, then they'll ask the parent if they'd like to be involved in a screening tool called the Ages and Stages. We'll send that out to the parent will fill it out, they'll send it back to us, we'll score it. We'll, with the parent's permission, we send that on to the pediatrician also, or their family provider. And then we'll also give them resources that will help them with their children. And then the beautiful thing about it is that they get a phone call in about 8 to 10 days that says, hey, how did it go on that referral? Were you able to get connected? So often parents, they get a referral and then it doesn't work out and they're kind of stranded.
Yeah.
But we don't want them to feel stranded.
So this is a little follow-up to make sure if they need some more help, they can get that help.
Yes.
Okay, we have a call from Robbie from Mapleton. Hi, Robbie.
Hi.
What's your question for Stephanie and Barbara?
I was wondering if it is normal for my 2-year-old son to whine and cry all day long and attach himself to my leg.
I would say yes, but I don't know.
Well, it's happened to me. Yes, it is. And that's, Robbie, that's what we call attachment. And I know that you feel like that child is attached to your leg, but it is a good sign when a child cries when you leave, or that that child wants to be with you. That means he has healthy attachment. And it is very normal at that stage that he wants to be with the person that he knows the best. It is a long road to when they get 18, but it goes by quickly, I promise. But it is something that is very normal. And actually, it's something that we want to look for. If a child is not attached, when that person that's supposed to be a part of their life, if a parent comes into a room, or the daycare provider, whoever it is, and they really don't want to be with it, that's where we get that's where we're concerned. So yes, Robbie, it's normal, and you'll just get a good thigh workout.
But Robbie, there are instruments out there, the Ages and Stages, which is a parent screening tool, and it was written for parents, and it gives you a good kind of an eye view of what should be happening, particularly at like 24 months. And so you can kind of take that screening and read those questions, and you'll understand, oh yeah, that's exactly where my child is. And then you know, okay, yeah, they're pretty normal.
Great. That's a really good question. Thanks, Robbie. And we want to invite everybody who has a question for Stephanie and Barbara about childhood development or about the Help Me Grow program. You can call the number that's on your screen. It's 855-801-1980, and we'd love to get your input. We have another caller from Provo. Patrick, hi.
Hi. My wife, we're blessed. We have a beautiful 3-year-old girl. The only thing is that she doesn't listen. It seems like she doesn't listen to what we say, so we have to ask her to do things 4 or 5 times or even more than that. And so, we just assumed that she wanted to do her own thing. But then after a while, I started worrying that this, coupled with a few other things, may be abnormal. And so I did some research. And so, I have that concern. I'm afraid that she may have hearing problems. What should I do about it? Is there a way to check the hearing of a 3-year-old, or should I wait until she's older?
Patrick, that's a good question.
Yeah.
That's a
really,
great
really
question.
Perceptive of him to think, wait, maybe she's just not 3.
Yep.
So, Patrick, when she hears loud sounds or those kind of things, does she respond to that? That's one way you can tell. And then the referral, going to a doctor and making sure that there is.
And also on the Help Me Grow line, we have a list of resources. And one of the lists that we have is a list of particular agencies that will provide audiologists and that testing for hearings. So if you call 211 and ask for Help Me Grow, Patrick, we will send that to you.
Great.
Patrick, does your daughter, can she hear things like when there are loud sounds or loud music or other things going on, or is it just when you talk?
Yeah, I don't think Patrick is with us anymore.
Sorry.
But
because that one thing that I think is interesting is they say that toddler stage, and sometimes we don't think 3 is toddler, but 3 is. 0 to 36 is a toddler. And sometimes we think, 3's a child, and it's really a toddler age, but it's what we call the identity stage, and it is really when it's all about me. So it's me, and everyone else doesn't really matter. And so they might just ignore us because you're not fitting into my life right now.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's a really good question, and it is great to know if you haven't had any hearing tests and you're not sure where, that you can call 211 and be connected with that resources, and that's what it's really about.
It really is, because there are professionals in this county, wonderful professionals. We are very, very fortunate to have the caliber of professionals that we have here. And they're available, and they can answer your questions, and they can do the appropriate testing. And so, yeah, that's what we're all about at Help Me Grow.
And we want to remind our viewers at home, if you get a busy signal when you call in, hang up and dial back in, because we'd love to talk with you. And we have a caller from Provo with a question. Hi, Nyla. I think Nyla's there. Maybe. Nyla will call us back.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So tell us about the questionnaire that you said, the ASQ questionnaire that will help parents kind of as a tool to see the child's developmental stages.
The Ages and Stages questionnaire has been around for about 30 years. It's very reliable. It's a valid tool. It's used by many pediatricians in the county, and we don't want to take, we're not trying to take the role of administering the ASQ, but we want parents to know there's a tool for them that was written for them, because those parents, and the reason why it was written was because these child development specialists knew that parents were the ones who knew their children the best. And they were observing them 24/7. And so this questionnaire covers 5 different areas: gross motor, fine motor, communications, social emotional, and problem solving. And there's 6 questions in each area, and some of them are pictorial, so it shows you, oh yes, they're doing this, or they're doing that. And so you go through that questionnaire, you fill it out, you send it in to Help Me Grow, or you take it right into your doctor if it's provided there, and then they can score it, and they can see whether that child is right on track or maybe needs a little bit of intervention. Even just activities at home sometimes can do a lot for a child. Yeah. Just focusing can do a lot. But then if they're in an area where they might need some professional assessment, then the parent is armed and ready to go in and get the help they need.
And Tracy, we call it the ASQ, but it's the Ages and Stages questionnaire. It starts from the very time they're born, and it goes up to the time that they're 8. And so you can do that Ages and Stages questionnaire. Maybe you do have a little concern. Do it 2 months later, after you've started to do some activities, and then you can see, is there some changes? And one thing that we've noticed with the Help Me Grow is sometimes parents are a little harder on their children than they should be. Yeah. We're not going to sit down. It is just very simple questions, like, can they grasp your hand? at, you know, at birth and those kind of things. They don't have to do it every single time, but do they or can they? And so we have found that sometimes we'll get an ASQ back and we'll score it, because that's what another thing that Help Me Grow does, is they score it, and then they can call back and say, this is where we see your child. And sometimes we'll ask some questions and find out that child really doesn't have any delays. So we need to make sure that when parents do it, to just watch their child. That's all they're doing, is watching them play, watching them in their daily activities.
So it might be more comforting for a parent to get that score back and go, oh, I don't have anything to worry
Yeah.
about, or I can focus on this particular area and make a change. I think we have Nicole on the line from Sandy with a question. Hello, Nicole.
Hello. Hi, yes, I have an 8-year-old daughter who cries hysterically every time I leave her with my mother-in-law. I mean, she'll cry like she is being hurt. Is that normal?
That would be something that you really want to talk to your pediatrician about, and also discuss some of the things that are happening and why she's reacting in that way. I think that would be a great thing to discuss with your pediatrician.
And with your daughter. Why?
And, yeah.
Yeah, I think that your daughter will have a lot of answers. And one thing that we have found, no matter how much of an expert anybody thinks they are, if a parent has a feeling that something's happening, you need to act on that. Now, that's not saying something bad is happening, but if you are concerned, then you need to make sure that you get your concerns addressed. But talk to your daughter, you know, things like that. But if you have some concerns, do talk to somebody, because that is something that does need to be looked at. Because it is not normal for an 8-year-old to be crying hysterically.
And there are wonderful resources out there that you can go to professionals and they can help you to ascertain what's happening or what are the issues too.
Thank you. Thanks for that question. Stephanie from Spanish Fork is on the line. Hi, Stephanie, tell us your question.
Hi, I was just wondering, I have a little 3-month-old baby, and I know it's really soon, but I was just wondering when we can expect to be getting a full night's sleep, when they can be sleeping through the night.
When they leave your house.
The days. That's hard. That's hard.
Yeah.
You know, one thing, and I you know, it's just leaving my mind, the name of the person that does it, so Barbara can help me out. But we call it the 4th trimester.
Oh,
you know, and this is where children are brought into the world. And there's so much change for a child, and there's so much stimulation that it is a very hard time for the child. And so it is a very difficult time for the child to adjust and for the parents to adjust. And so a lot of times it takes till about the 4th month for a child to be able to soothe themselves and to find different ways to sleep through the night. But it's very individual for each child.
Yes, it is very individual. And don't feel like 4 months it's going to happen, because it will change multiple times over the life of that child.
Yeah, they can get in a kind of good pattern,
Right.
and then something can throw them
Tracy,
off.
can we talk about some things in that 4th trimester that they can do to soothe the child? I don't know if that's what's happening, is the child is just up happy, or if that child is crying. But we call it the 5 S's. And the first S is where we take them and we lay them sort of on their stomach and soothe them, or their side and soothe them. And the next one is sucking, that they need to be sucking. The third one, and they don't go in any particular order, but the next one is swaddling, where we take them and we wrap them up tightly, but we don't want to really bind their legs. So don't bind their legs, but, you know, make them feel like they're, you know, back in that safe environment. And then the one that's going to sound, it's hard to say, is shushing. And that's where, when they're crying, you do that shh, 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 to a little bit higher than they're crying. And then the next one is swinging. And you notice that even when our children are past that stage, we've gotten used to that, because we do that swinging. And so we talk about those 5 S's when a child is crying. Those are some things that they can do those first, you know, 3 to 4 months to help them in that stage of being fussy.
I've done that, all 5 at once.
Yeah.
Christine from Cedar Fort is on the line with a question. Hi, Christine.
Hi. My question is, I have a 21-month-old who is transitioning from 2 naps during the day to 1 nap. She started walking late at 18 months, and lately I've noticed when she's tired, she falls over so often, and so I don't know if the uncoordination is just normal, or, I mean, she bumps her head pretty often, and I just don't know if it's normal, if it's something that I should take her in to see the doctor with this uncoordination.
That's a good question, and it's just like we talked about. It is hard sometimes to tell if this is normal for
Right.
this little one who started walking just a few months ago.
Right.
So still in that stage of maybe learning to find balance.
Right, it is. And whenever children are making transitions, their behavior can change too. But as you said in your question, it's really always good to check with your primary care provider. They really are the experts in the community. Those pediatricians have a lot of understanding of what should be happening, and then they can guide you, and also Help Me Grow can guide you to resources if you're really concerned. Just like Stephanie had said before, we as parents really have an intrinsic feeling. When we're feeling something that isn't right, then it's very important for us to go to someone and express our concerns and see if we can find the resources that we need.
And don't you think the earlier the better, where this mom, she'll
Yes.
find peace of mind,
Yep.
and or she'll find help for her child
Yes.
if she needs a
Yeah.
little bit of help, and then she won't have to worry about that.
You know, one thing, Barbara and I worked together for 4 years, and one thing that we have found in every early intervention process is for every dollar we spend in those early years, we're saving ourselves, and not saving, but we're not spending as much when we have to do as much intervention in those later years. And so it's about, is it $12 to $15 more when you start trying to catch up almost. And so when you do any early interventions, maybe it's a sight problem, or maybe she is just tired, and you know, so, but you know, but finding out now, and I've taken my child to the doctor before and had him say, why did, you know, now what was your concern? And all of us have, but then we do have that peace of mind. But if it wasn't, we are finding that the earlier the intervention, the more successful it is, the less resources that you have to pull in to that intervention, and the less it costs too.
That's a great point. Nina from Provo is on the line with a question for Stephanie and Barbara. Hello, Nina.
You're finding that the earlier the intervention,
Nina
the more successful it is.
Maybe you have to call us back.
Okay.
We'll wait for her to call back. I hope she does. So how have you found parents responding to the Help Me Grow program?
I think we've found that parents feel relieved. We've found that they are able to get connected into resources.
My little granddaughter.
We have found when they use the ages and stages that it helps them to understand where their child should be. And you know what? As a parent, if we understand what's appropriate behavior for a child, we're a better parent. And I think we're also more confident because we recognize, my child's, you know, on track, and I'm okay, and they're okay, and
Absolutely.
so it's not just, this is for the general public, it's for everyone. If you think that you have, you know, if you think there's a delay, great, call in. If you just have everyday questions, call in.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different reasons for
There
calling.
doesn't have to be a huge issue.
Right.
Just to kind of check
No,
in.
we've actually had calls that have said, how can you help me find some resources for breastfeeding? Or how can you help me find some resources for daycare? I mean, it's just your normal, you know, everyday questions. We don't need the, oh no, my child isn't, or I think. And one thing that I have found, every conference I've ever attended, every article that I've ever read, is the best person that we can educate for a child is a parent. And when we educate a parent, it makes a big difference. And the one thing I love about Help Me Grow is we're not taking the parent out of that equation. In fact, we're empowering them. We're not telling them what to do or what resource to use. We're saying, here are some things you can do, and we call them back and see if that's helped or if we can give them. But the parent is empowered, and that's what makes a difference, is the parent making sure that they're educated.
That's true. We have a caller from Taylorsville. Rainey, what's your question?
Yeah, I was wondering if you have a Help Me Grow service for anyone in Salt Lake County.
At this point, we don't have Help Me Grow in Salt Lake. We're piloting in Utah, but it is our hope that eventually we will take it statewide. That's in the future, but at this point, we are just within Utah County. But If you have a problem or a question, you may definitely call us and we will research. We've already taken numerous calls from outside of Utah County because we have parents that are concerned everywhere.
That's great. Yeah, that's really great. So tell me some of the experiences, maybe a personal story of a family that has come in contact with Help Me Grow and been benefited.
Okay. Actually, I have so many. Let me think of one that I can share. I had a particular mother that called in, and she had some concerns about her son with some eating disorders. And so this mother really didn't know any of the resources that she could go to. He was seeing a therapist, and he was receiving some psychological help. But she was also concerned that he wasn't doing as well at school as she would have liked in eating lunch and things like that. And so we were able to tune her into, there's the follow-up nutrition clinic up in Salt Lake. We were able to get her connected into that. We also connected her into some community resources or community groups on eating disorders that were free, that she could go and her family members to learn more about that particular issue. So by the end of the 6-month period, and it really was a 6-month period that we worked with this mom, this child had been assessed, and also the parents were in a group where they were getting some support also.
What such a valuable resource.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's so overwhelming, and sometimes you don't even know where to start, or if you're new to the area, I can just think of so many situations where this would be so helpful. We have a last caller from Provo on the line. Janie, hi, what's your question?
Hi, I was wondering if it is normal for a toddler to be more attached to one parent than the other, or to prefer one parent over the other.
Thank you for that question.
Yeah, that's a good question. And I just want to preface this with the fact that my 16-year-old would not go to anyone, including her father, until she was 3 years old. Wow. And she is doing very well at 16. But at that time, I was very concerned, just as you are, but she was just very, very attached to me. And it can be normal for that child, or there may be some issues. And so that's why you want to take a look at what the behavior is and whether they're following the normal behaviors. And if not, then get some help.
But yes, it is. It is normal for a child to be more attached to one parent, especially the one that they spend, the most time with. And it even we've talked to child care providers that sometimes a parent will say, my child seems to be more attached at that point. So yes, it is.
In fact, I have a mother who has a 2.5-year-old, and her son is now completely attached to the father. Won't even go to the mother if the father's at home. So
yes.
Yeah, that happens. So will you just remind us, everyone, how to get in touch with Help Me Grow?
Yes.
If they're interested in getting some of these resources or the ages and stages and questionnaire, how can they do that?
So if you're calling from a landline, you're going to dial 211 and ask for Help Me Grow, and you will get connected into one of our specialists. If you're dialing from a cell phone, you're going to dial 801-374-2588. Now, if you want to go online and you're very techie, you can go on the internet and go to helpmegrowutah.org, and you can actually sign up online, and we'll give you a call, and we'll send you the questionnaire and get you started.
It's very easy, very, very easy to just call 211.
That's easy to remember. Barbara and Stephanie, thank you so much for being with us and sharing with all of us this great resource in Help Me Grow.
We're really glad that we could be here tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
In just a few minutes, we'll return to take more of your phone calls and talk with some parents whose children and families have actually benefited from the Help Me Grow program. But first, let's take a look at a short video about active learning and early parent-childhood attachment entitled Best Beginnings.
I felt this overwhelming sense of love.
I feel really bonded and connected with her.
When he looks in my eyes and then he just smiles at me, it just makes me melt.
I think Gavin and I have a great relationship. I just love him to pieces.
Early attachment is the the earliest moments that take place between the caregiver and the infant. Early attachment impacts social development, emotional development, and actually research has shown that early attachment impacts the way that one interacts with the world. It lays down the foundation of how people see relationships and connecting.
Yay, excellent.
In some ways, the earliest experiences create sort of building blocks for future relationships.
It's the interaction with others that helps them flower and transform.
When we're interacting with our children, we're teaching them.
You got it. Try again. Yay! That empathy and compassion comes from those beginning aspects of your development where people were responding to your needs in a healthy and happy way.
Having that moment where you look in his eyes or hear his first laugh and knowing that that's part of your care, it's an amazing feeling.
An infant is securely attached. And that's the end result of a responsive world, a world that cares, a world that comforts during the stress, a world that connects and celebrates creativity and joy.
When attachment is successful, it leads to successful parenting, a successful child. There is a trust that a child develops as a newborn that continues through its world.
Yay!
I think the big picture, the big lesson here is that children are very active learners. Everything that's going on in their life is learning, but that doesn't mean just learning about numbers and learning about letters. It also means learning about relationships. And so effective parents can help children master social communication, master love, master understanding, master empathy, master flexibility, because these aren't things that we just understand and just have. They're things that come with skill and practice.
So how do you build those positive things? They really are based on these magical moments when kids are emotional, how parents connect with those very small moments where you find out what your kid is feeling, you help the kid really label and understand their emotions, because your emotions are your GPS of how to get through life.
Those are the building blocks of I love you.
It's always going to be ongoing, the attachment process, and it's always going to change with every developmental stage.
Parenting never stops. Parenting is something that exists your whole life. You join the club of other humans who have had this experience.
We can't believe we made him.
Oh, yeah.
And he's a lot of fun, even when he's screaming.
I'm sorry, it's truly amazing.
Right?
These are happy tears, happy tears.
Joining us now is Tammy Evans and Etta Ross. They are two parents who've successfully used the resources available through United Way's Help Me Grow program. Tammy and Etta, we're so glad you could be with us tonight and tell us some of your experiences.
Thank you.
Let's start with you, Tammy. Just tell us a little bit about how you connected with Help Me Grow and why.
Oh, well, I had a daughter that from the beginning had some problems, and we knew that there were some problems, and she was seeing a physical therapist, and so I kind of thought things were under control, right? But I noticed, I kind of started to worry about a few things. So through friends and contacts that I just kept asking questions to, came in contact with Help Me Grow, and through filling out their surveys and questionnaires on my daughter, discovered that there were some other problems that the physical therapist never would have noticed, but I was able to, with them, help her. So it was pretty much just kind of a miracle how it all worked out, I guess.
So that ages and stages questionnaire that we were talking with before really helped in your situation, helped you kind of pinpoint some areas.
Well, and it helped me narrow down that my feelings were justified.
Right. Thank you. Edda, tell us about your story.
Well, my husband and I, it took us a couple years to get a healthy baby here. And so I think naturally for first-time parents, it can kind of be nerve-wracking, not quite knowing, you know, what's normal, what's not normal. But I had a friend who actually volunteered with United Way, and she told me about the program, and she's like, you know, I think a lot of your concerns are valid, but I think maybe you can find some peace of mind talking to someone. So I came in contact with Barbara and Robin Lindsay, and they both kind of gave me the peace of mind I needed, that, you know, the things that weren't normal or that she was lacking in, like we had resources, we could help her get back on track. And so
that's so great. It's a great resource. We have a caller from West Jordan, Shelly. Hi, do you have a question?
Hi. My son's kindergarten teacher actually said something like he had some behavior problems and it might be ADD. I was just wondering if I should maybe get him tested or what I should do.
Well, that's a great question, and we probably wish that Barbara and Stephanie were here, but I definitely would recommend that you call 211, get that ages and stages questionnaire, and as part of those questions, they'll talk about those kinds of areas and attention, and you can know then if you have any reason to be concerned or if he's a 5-year-old boy, and that's what's happening. That's a good question. Thank you so much for your call. So after you took the ASQ, then where did that lead you? How did that change kind of the direction of your parenting?
Well, see, we waited probably longer than I should have, and my daughter was almost 9 months. Well, she's just older than 9 months when we did the first ASQ. And there was some things we were worried about, but we decided to do one more. Wait till she was 10 months old and do one more. And it was basically solidified that there were a few problems. So what we ended up doing was getting referred to basically another organization that could be very specific in helping her. So, but I didn't even know the organization existed. Had it not been for Barbara with Help Me Grow, I would have just kind of been lost as to how to help her. But now, well, since then, we've been able to get the help that we needed through the organizations that they set us up with.
I'm sure you feel like you've had just a whole bunch of education that you wouldn't have had, but as a young parent or a new parent or first-time parent or a parent dealing with a new issue with a child, you don't know where to go. And so that's why Help Me Grow is so important. Elisa from Orem is on the line with a question. Hello, Elisa.
Hey. Yeah, my question is in regard to my oldest child. He is 10 years old, and from a young age, he was diagnosed with attention deficit disorder. And then at later ages, most recently, the diagnosis was oppositional defiant disorder. And we have been working for some time with the school that he attends, the elementary school administration, and they have been working and setting up an IEP for him. But we are not getting the accommodation that he needs in the classroom. There doesn't seem to be a middle ground. He doesn't qualify for the special education services. And then on the other hand, he is not capturing all that he needs to in the classroom. And I'm just wondering what resources are out there in the way of, children who struggle, with we assume at this point that he may have some auditory processing problems, but there doesn't really seem to be anyone who can help with that in the school setting.
Thanks so much, Elisa. I'm sure there are a lot of our viewers who are struggling with those kinds of similar situations, and it is so hard, especially when you're dealing with a school-age child and you're working with teachers and administration and therapists. And I hope that as you get in touch with 211, I'm confident that you'll be able to get the resources that you need. There are, as Barbara mentioned, amazing resources in our county. And if you dial 211, they will put you in touch with the Help Me Grow program, and you'll be able to get those resources, and they will, as Barbara said, search them out for you. And we want to remind all of our viewers that 211 is a statewide number, so even if you are north of Utah County or south of Utah County and you want to get a little direction, just give them a call or go online. The information has been on your screen tonight, and they'll put you in touch with the right people. So Etta, after your contact with Help Me Grow, how did that change what you were doing as a parent or how you were feeling?
Well, I was pretty insecure going into it. Like I said, it took us a couple years to get a healthy baby here. So when we finally had her, we just, I think, and I wonder sometimes if this is natural for, you know, a first-time parent, or it's just because we had such difficulty getting her here. But I stressed about everything. I always wanted to know if it was normal, not normal, if there was anything I could do to help her development. And I feel like a lot of parents are kind of in that stage as well, you know. So as I started filling out the ASQs and finding out, you know, she was lacking a little bit in her gross motor skills, they sent me so much information. They sent me articles, but they also sent me different activities that I could do with her every day that would just help to get her back on track. And I felt like not only did it help her development, but it kind of helped my relationship with her a lot more too, because I was interacting more. And I mean, my husband and her made a blanket fort one day, and she just that was one of the activities for them to do for gross motor skills. So she crawled over boxes and you know, so it's amazing what they have out there. You know.
You became your own little physical therapist.
And yeah, exactly. Well, and now I feel so much more confident in being a mom. They've taught me that, you know, the parent knows what's best, and just rely on your instincts. And I had a hard time with that.
Yeah, part of what I loved about it is that it taught me how to play. Does that make sense? Like you're saying, they send the activities, and it's like, oh, I can do that. That's something I can do.
Stop stressing, have fun. Yeah.
Camille from Provo is on the line. Hi, Camille, what's your question tonight?
Hi, I actually just have a comment that Help Me Grow I think is a great help to parents, not just the children and maybe the children indirectly. But what I mean is I have a 3-year-old son who 6 months ago I had him, I did the ages and stages questionnaire with him, but I didn't have any concerns. I didn't have any major concerns about his development or where he was at. I thought he was a very bright kid, you know, doing great. And it turns out that he did score above average in all the different areas. But the benefit that was great to me was that when someone from the Help Me Grow program called to go over the score with me, we had the best conversation, and I really was enlightened. And even though there weren't developmental delays or, you know, red flags or concerns with my son, the person who I spoke with really validated me as a parent. And that's not something that you get from a 3-year-old very often. And she gave me so many ideas of really simple things to do at home, you know, like they were talking about playing and just things I had never thought of before to continue to nurture his really great development. So that's my comment, is that I had a great experience with Help Me Grow when I thought that it couldn't have benefited me at all, you know, but that was 6 months ago, and I'm still going off of that validation that child development expert gave me so long ago. So I just wanted to say it's a great program.
That is so great. Thank you so much for taking the time to call in, Camille. I think that is a wonderful point that she brings up, that, you know, there wasn't a major concern, and even if she was just needing some validation and some extra direction, what a great thing. I hope all the operators on the Help Me Grow line are ready, because I think they're going to have a lot of callers. So helpful for parents.
Oh, yeah. It's been amazing. Like I said before, I felt so insecure about my ability to be a mom, and I was so stressed about everything. But just speaking with them at Help Me Grow made me realize, like, it's okay. Like, you know what's best for her, and it gave me the confidence I needed.
Seems like that follow-up from the Help Me Grow specialist is really important and helpful.
Oh, yeah.
Was the ASQ hard to fill out? Should people be afraid of that questionnaire?
Oh, no. For me, it was, I'm assuming it was for anyone, a piece of cake. But for me, it helped a lot to just read through what she should be doing. You know, like just random things. Like it'll ask, is your daughter doing, or child doing this? And I would think, does she do that? have I ever given her the chance to do that? And so it helped me realize, okay, so at this age, she really can do that, even though I've never, in essence, asked her to or given her the opportunity to. I don't know if that's what it's like for you.
No, that's the same. It's such a simple survey to fill out, and yeah, no, I agree.
And then it sounds like based on that, they give you the intervention activities, which for each of you were a little different based on the needs of your child. And that's been so helpful. Is it something that you would recommend, or do you recommend to your friends?
Yeah. I tell all my friends about it. I think it's great.
I even tell people that aren't my friends.
Total strangers?
Yeah, total strangers. I mean, you know, it's kind of like you see kids and you're always with play groups or at the playground, and if a mom knows that my daughter's had some problems, a lot of times they'll ask me questions, and so I very willingly say, if there's anything you're even remotely concerned about or no concerns, Help Me Grow is the best place to start.
That's great, and it's great to see that some of our viewers have also had experiences with this program. We have a caller from Minersville. Corey, glad to have you with us.
Hello, my name is Corey, and I have an 8-year-old son with Down syndrome. Basically, the resources that I find, we're able to find through our small community, but it would be great to have some more. Did you feel that Help Me Grow led you in the right direction and provided you extra resources that you may not have been able to find otherwise, since I'm always looking for extra resources?
Thanks, Corey. That's a great question for you.
Yeah, 100% yes. There are programs out there that I had no idea were out there. Organizations, nonprofit groups, you know, you name it, they are there. But I wouldn't have known how to find them had it not been for Help Me Grow. Basically, oh, this is the problem. Here's people that can help. And they can help in such a way that it's not going to break the bank. Yes. But how it's like, okay, this is doable. These are things I can handle. I can handle calling people.
And we want you to note the information on your screen, and we want to also tell parents like Corey who might have a child with a special need or want to get in touch with other parents. By getting in touch with Help Me Grow through 211, you can be put in contact with parent groups. And I am a mom of a special needs child, and I really find that networking with parents who've had similar experiences is so helpful. And I don't know how many times that I've been helped by another mom, and I kind of see 211 and Help Me Grow as just kind of an enlarging of that network. It's a big, you know, place where you can get together with parents and other professionals and be directed to where you need to go. And we love our pediatricians, and they're so helpful, but they can't know all of the resources available either. So 211 is a great place for all of us to go for that one-stop shopping.
Yeah, like she said, it's the perfect starting point.
It is, absolutely. So tell us a little bit more about the changes that you have had in your family since you got this help.
I did have one concern that was valid. Her gross motor skills, she was having some trouble walking and things like that, just really holding out on us. So with the activities that Robin sent me, we were able to give her some chances to, you know, exercise and things like that, and mostly just play and develop those muscles more and those gross motor skills. And so now she's great. She's walking and she's right on track. And so I feel like if you get in contact with Help Me Grow, no matter if it's early or later, they can always try to help your child become, you know, developmentally normal, where they should be, and help them get back on track.
Reach their full potential.
Yes,
and it's a good point that you bring up, early or late. I mean, it's never too late, but the earlier, if you do have a kind of feeling or mother's intuition, if you will, that you want to check something out, it's a good time to do it. And do you feel like the information that you got from the Ages and Stages questionnaire and from the activities that you were given by Help Me Grow has helped you in interacting with your children's doctor and getting more help?
Yeah, I think so. The doctor doesn't talk about it a lot. You know, it's not something that we sit down and he's like, oh, I see this and this and this. But from my perspective, I go into the doctor's office knowing what she should be doing, what she is doing, what she isn't doing. And basically, I have questions for him right up front because of these. Not, And I mean, sometimes he's like, do you have any questions? I remember before, and I'd be like, I don't even know what I'm supposed to have a question on. You know, I've never done this before. And so it was a really basically a learning experience for me to be able to see what I can ask about. Like, why isn't she doing this? Or when should I expect this? And
you're more prepared and you're more educated.
Yeah.
So you can get the most out of those doctor visits.
Yeah.
I really think that it's so important and so helpful as a parent to have more information. The more information that you have, the better. So how would you describe the difference between how you feel now as to how you felt before you had the resources of Help Me Grow?
Like I said before, I was really insecure about my ability to be a mom and just really stressed about is she developing properly? Am I doing everything I possibly can for her? And now I feel like I actually have the confidence that I need. You know, they gave me that peace of mind that I needed to just realize, like, I'm a good mom. I can really help my child. So
thank you. Thanks for sharing.
I totally agree 100% with that. That it's, I mean, and I don't know if there's a woman that goes into motherhood confident. If there is, more power to you. But I mean, I think we all are kind of like, oh, and we want the best up front. We want them to be the best person they can be. And I know, looking back at what we've come through, it's been the world of difference because it has empowered me to feel like I at least know what I can do to try and help. And if mine, I mean, in our instance, my efforts weren't enough. I had to go get professional help for my daughter, but I know that I, at home, can maintain and help her keep up what we've learned.
But your situations are interesting because, like you said, you had to go outside the home and get some professional help. And Etta, you were able to kind of do some therapy at home and with the right intervention activities and building things and climbing, help her reach those developmental stages on your own.
Which has also given me that confidence too, watching her develop.
Yeah, and it kind of shows the gamut of what Help Me Grow can do and how all of the viewers at home, every single one of us can benefit from those services. Do you think that there are others in similar situations that you're in that might benefit?
Definitely.
Well, first time, third time, 12th time. You know, we were talking how each child is so different and you never know. But at the same time, there is that mother's little intuition that sometimes says, maybe that's not completely where they should be. Maybe, you know, you'd think that he'd outgrow that a little faster. And I know I was told by many people to just wait. She'll outgrow it, just wait. And had I done that, it would have been a much more miserable road. So although they had good intentions, it's kind of like, okay, I still knew in my little pocket of whatever those feelings come from that I needed to do something more than just sit back.
And like Stephanie said earlier, it's kind of the ounce of prevention idea that the earlier the better. Like you say, had you waited, the problem might have been magnified. So we have another caller from Provo. Alex, thanks for calling Ask 11 tonight.
Hi.
Hi.
Members of my family seem kind of uncomfortable with my daughter who needs a little extra help. I think she's kind of being excluded a little bit. Do you guys ever have that happen, or do you have any ideas of what I could do about that?
Okay, so are you saying that you have a daughter with some special needs and the extended family is uncomfortable?
Yeah, she's being excluded in the family a little bit.
That is a really good question. What do you think?
I was just going to say, I feel like anytime, like Tammy said before, anytime that there's a concern or even not a concern, you can call Help Me Grow and they will connect you with the people that you need to be connected to and just give you the resources that you need.
Even specialists in those areas. And I can just tell you from my own experience, like I said, as a parent of a child with a special need, that they're a different little person and they're still a little person. And so I just always find that the more that those members of your extended family and others around you can get to know the great individual traits of your daughter, that they can kind of bond with, and maybe you can give them something to do with her that she would enjoy, because maybe they're just not sure, not comfortable how to actually interact with her. So you can say, hey, you know what, she really loves this toy, or she really loves this game, or if you could sing her this song, that will increase their comfort level and their ability to interact with her so she can have that bonding with the whole family. Thanks so much for calling in. We love to have the calls from our viewers, and Etta and Tammy, we're so grateful for you coming to share your story about Help Me Grow. Thank you so much. Many community organizations are available to aid and to educate families during the various stages of childhood development. You can find some of these services by logging on to kbyu11.org and clicking on the Community tab. And while you're on our website, we would love to hear what you thought about the presentation tonight and the information that we've talked about. Another valuable resource available through Utah is 211 information and referral that we've talked about tonight. Dialing 211 will connect you to an operator who can answer your questions on a wide variety of topics and direct you to the proper helps and agencies in your community, including Help Me Grow. 211 information and referral is a free and confidential service. We'd like to thank you for joining us this evening. KBYU 11 has a strong commitment to provide Utah's parents, children, and families with quality television programming, as well as quality information. We're pleased to act as a bridge between your family and the resources available in our community. We hope you'll join us next week for another live call-in show focusing on how to use the media as a teaching tool for children. I'm Tracy Christensen. For all of us at Ask 11, thanks for being with us.